What happens when Hollywood royalty refuses to play by the late-night rulebook? When the polished routine of comedy meets the raw, unfiltered rage of principle. What follows isn't just television, it's an explosion. Matt Damon, beloved A-lister, steps into the glittering world of The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, intending to promote his latest hard-hitting drama. But within minutes, the appearance descends into a searing confrontation that no producer, no director, and certainly no host could control. Tonight, you'll witness how a simple interview spiraled into chaos, culminating in a moment so volatile it left the studio rattled and the world talking. Stay tuned, because this wasn't just another PR appearance. It was a battle for respect. The evening begins like any other episode in the buzzing heart of Manhattan. The Late Show studio is packed, the audience high on anticipation. Spotlights cut through the dark rafters, the band pumps out infectious tunes, and the signature skyline backdrop glows. Everyone's here for one reason: Matt Damon. A man who's defined blockbusters and critical darlings alike, stepping back into the public eye to talk about his latest project. A gritty thriller exploring the life of a whistleblower fighting against ruthless corporate giants. But beneath the charming smile and polished manner, Damon is on edge. In the green room, his manager, Carla, circles like a hawk. A hardened industry veteran, she knows the traps of late-night television all too well. "Keep it focused," she had barked at the producers earlier. "Matt's here for the movie. No circus." The producers, eyes glinting with visions of viral clips and trending hashtags, nodded politely. But the smirks said it all. Late night thrives on spectacle, and they weren't about to let this star slip through their fingers without a little showbiz spark. In front of the mirror, Damon tightens his jacket, takes a breath. His latest role hits close, exposing greed, corruption, and the price paid for truth. This wasn't some popcorn flick, it was a message. He wanted to make that clear, without the usual late-night clowning. Little did he know, the battle lines were already drawn. As the opening monologue rolls, Damon watches through the monitor. Stephen Colbert is sharp as ever, slicing through the headlines with that trademark smirk, lacing jokes with sarcasm. The audience eats it up. But Damon's foot taps, a restless rhythm Carla recognizes instantly. It's a quiet storm building. Backstage, the stage manager motions. "Showtime." Damon steps into the wings as Stephen cues the crowd. Our next guest is one of Hollywood's finest, real, raw, and never afraid to speak his mind. Ladies and gentlemen, Matt Damon. The band kicks into gear, the crowd erupts, and Damon strides onto the set. From the start, the energy is tense but polite. Damon's handshake is firm, his smile brief but genuine. He settles into the guest chair, posture poised, eyes alert. Colbert begins smoothly, praising Damon's performance, highlighting the real-world inspirations behind the story. Damon's words are thoughtful, passionate, his voice steady as he describes the complex layers of his character. A whistleblower crushed beneath corporate greed, risking everything to expose the rot. The crowd listens, captivated. For a moment, it's exactly what Damon wanted. A serious conversation about an important film. But late-night TV is never content with serious. Colbert shifts gears, tossing out a quick joke about Damon's action hero past. "So, Matt, you still doing your own stunts, or do they leave that to the computers these days?" The crowd chuckles. Damon doesn't. His smile is brief, polite, but clipped. "Some of them," he answers, barely masking his intent to steer things back to the message. He pivots, diving back into the heart of the film. But Colbert isn't done. He shifts again, fishing for an old set prank story, a viral nugget producers had prepped for maximum laugh potential. Damon's eyes steal over. His jaw tightens. "That never happened," he replies, voice flat, final. The crowd's laughter falters, a few awkward giggles escaping before the room dips into uncomfortable silence. Colbert, unshaken, leans into his fallback, props. From beneath the desk, he pulls out a bright, plastic, oversized whistle, grinning widely. "Come on, Matt, how about we blow the whistle, on Hollywood?" Laughter bubbles in the crowd, eager to jump back into familiar comedic territory. But Damon's expression doesn't budge. His voice cuts through the noise like a blade. "Put that away." The studio freezes. Colbert's grin collapses into a twitch of confusion, and for the first time, a flicker of unease creases his forehead. In the wings, Carla mutters under her breath. They're about to learn the hard way. The floor producer fumbles with cue cards, his eyes darting between Colbert and the control booth. Producers in the back argue. Cut to commercial, or let it ride. The ratings monitor is already spiking, and greed wins. The cameras stay locked. Colbert, sensing the shift but desperate to regain control, forces a chuckle, tosses the whistle aside. All right, no whistles tonight, folks. Tough crowd. But Damon doesn't flinch. His stare pierces through the bright lights, through the cameras, straight into Colbert's uneasy facade. Stephen leans in, trying to salvage the moment, pivoting back to the movie's themes. Let's dive into the whistleblower's moral dilemma, he offers, hoping to pull Damon back into the scripted rhythm. Damon obliges, but his tone is sharp, the warmth stripped away. He speaks about sacrifice, truth, and the toll of exposing corruption. Then his voice dips, his eyes locking onto Stephen's. That's what this is about. Not your cheap skits, not some clickbait gag. The studio shudders. A ripple of gasps, a few rebellious cheers. Carla watches from the wings, her arms crossed, lips curled into a grim smile. She knows the inevitable crash has begun. Colbert's face twitches, smile faltering as he realizes the guest chair is no longer occupied by an obliging celebrity. It's become a podium for raw defiance. And the crowd, they smell blood. Stephen Colbert's practiced charm starts to wobble as Matt Damon's unwavering stare tightens the noose around the light-hearted tone of the evening. The seasoned host attempts one last pivot, reaching for a safe fallback. So, tell me about your co-stars, some incredible performances in this film, right? His tone is lighter, but Damon isn't here to play along. Damon shifts slightly, his voice sharp. You're not hearing me, Stephen. I'm not here to swap jokes or talk set gossip. I'm here to talk about something that matters. The room sharpens, every laugh line dissolving into tension. Some of the audience members cheer in support, others jeer, not quite sure whether they're watching an unscripted meltdown or the most authentic moment in late-night history. In the control room, panic bubbles to the surface. The floor director's hand hovers over the cue to cut to commercial. The producer's headset crackles with arguments. We're losing control. No, we're making history. Hold. On stage, Stephen's eyes flicker toward the band, to the staff scrambling just beyond the cameras. He clenches his cue card tighter and forces out another smile. Hey, buddy, we're all just trying to have a little fun here. No harm meant. But Damon doesn't blink. This is the problem. Fun shouldn't come at the cost of the truth. His words are deliberate, pressing into the heart of late-night television's glittery, shallow format. The audience, sensing a cultural line being crossed, splits down the middle. Some erupt in applause, others boo, chanting lighten up. And this is comedy. But there's no turning back now. Stephen's last sliver of composure shatters. His voice sharpens, his shoulders square. Matt, you're a guest on this show. We brought you here to promote your film. Maybe show some gratitude for the platform. The air turns toxic. Damon's mouth curls into something between a smirk and a grimace. His next words slice through the theater like a razor. Gratitude? For what? Being reduced to a punchline to sell ad space. The crowd ignites, a cacophony of screams, claps, and jeers colliding in a chaotic swirl of raw energy. In the wings, Carla steps forward, ready to intervene if things turn physical. The security team edges toward the stage, reading the cues but hesitant, knowing that Matt Damon is not a man you strong-arm off camera without consequence. Stephen's patience finally crumbles. His palm slaps against the desk, his voice rising. Matt, this is a talk show. We joke. We laugh. That's what this is. If you wanted a TED Talk, you're in the wrong building. Damon leans in, the studio lights reflecting in his steely eyes. You bury what matters under the noise. You drown the truth in jokes. You make entertainment out of exploitation. That's not conversation, Stephen. That's manipulation. The audience roars. Half the crowd stands, fists in the air chanting Damon's name. The other half fights back, booing, yelling for Colbert to take back control. The atmosphere is combustible, thick with polarized fury. Colbert, now fully out of his polished late-night persona, jabs a finger toward Damon. If you don't like it here, you don't have to be here. It's a shot heard around the world. The studio explodes into bedlam. Carla mutters through clenched teeth. They just lost him. The director frantically signals to cut to commercial. The ratings are climbing like a rocket, but the studio is moments from meltdown. Damon stands slow, powerful, deliberate. His chair screeches against the floor as the cameras capture every second. You're right, Stephen, he says, his voice low but commanding. I don't have to stay. Security moves in, hesitant but ready. Carla pushes through, glaring at the floor manager. He walks on his own terms, she growls. Nobody lays a hand on him. Stephen, now flushed with frustration, retorts, "Go ahead. Walk out. See how that plays on TMZ." But Damon's expression stays composed. "Good," he says simply. "Let the world see exactly what late-night TV really is." He turns toward the audience, and let them decide what deserves their attention, empty jokes or real conversations. The cameras capture his every step off stage, every raw chant and furious cheer behind him. The director holds on the moment, unwilling to cut as the internet floods with clips, hashtags trend, and media engines begin their feeding frenzy. Backstage, the crew scrambles in chaos. Some cheer Damon's integrity, others curse the implosion. Stephen Colbert, left alone in the chair, forces a brittle smile back onto his face, muttering, "Well folks, that was a thing." But even the audience doesn't buy it. The room is fractured, the energy irreparably changed. There are no more easy laughs tonight. Matt Damon exits the stage, not as a disgruntled guest, but as a man who refused to be steamrolled by a format built on pretense. And in his wake, a simple appearance becomes a landmark cultural moment, one that will echo far beyond the glossy floors of any television studio. Outside the studio, the New York night air is brisk, cutting through the adrenaline pumping in Matt Damon's veins. Carla follows closely behind, her phone already lighting up with frantic calls and messages. Paparazzi have gathered like vultures outside the exit, their cameras clicking furiously as Damon emerges, his expression calm, unfazed by the chaos he just left behind. Carla shields him as much as possible, but Damon doesn't flinch. He walks to the waiting black SUV, with the same composure he carried on stage. Reporters shout questions, flashes blind the eyes, and the frenzy spills into the street. But Damon remains stone-faced, climbing into the vehicle without so much as a glance toward the circus of flashing bulbs and yelling voices. Inside the SUV, the driver pulls away from the curb, escaping the immediate storm. Carla finally exhales, scrolling through her phone. "Trending in 40 countries already," she says, her voice half amusement, half exasperation. Hashtags are exploding. You're being called everything from a hero to a Hollywood diva. Damon stares out the window at the glowing skyline. "They were always going to spin it," he says, his voice even. "Doesn't change the truth." Carla nods. "You nuked their comfort zone on live television. Sponsors are calling already. Studio execs are split between fury and admiration. This is going to ripple hard." Back at the studio, Stephen Colbert is huddled with his team, his jacket off, his hair mussed, frustration scrawled across his features. The director is pacing, shouting into his headset. Producers debate feverishly, some fearing backlash, others giddy at the record-breaking numbers rolling in from every live platform. The floor manager grimly watches the playback on the monitors. "That's going to be replayed for decades," he mutters. Stephen slams a hand on the desk. "Yeah, but at what cost? That wasn't an interview, it was a hostage situation." In his dressing room, Damon removes his jacket, rolling his shoulders as Carla paces. She reads from her phone. CNN, MSNBC, Fox, they're all running clips. Twitter's on fire. Celebrities are chiming in. Some defending you, others saying you disrespected the platform. Damon pours himself a glass of water. "Good," he says calmly. "Let them talk about it. Better than them laughing at another cheap stunt." Carla grins despite herself. "This wasn't just a talk show walk-off. You kicked in the door of an entire industry's hypocrisy." Elsewhere, Hollywood reacts in real time. Actors and directors take to social media. Some praise Damon's refusal to play the game. Others criticize his lack of professionalism. Hashtags trend. Hashtag Damon walkout. Hashtag Colbert clash. Hashtag Hollywood reckoning. YouTube floods with reaction videos dissecting every second of the confrontation. Within hours, news outlets dissect the moment from every angle. Media pundits argue if Damon sabotaged himself or became a symbol of artistic integrity. Memes explode across Instagram and TikTok, with split screens of Damon's stern stare against Colbert's forced grin. At the Late Show headquarters, Stephen prepares for damage control. His PR team drafts a statement, carefully worded to acknowledge the moment without taking full responsibility. "We respect all our guests and their perspectives, and we strive to offer both entertainment and meaningful conversations." But the internet isn't waiting. Clips of Damon's final words loop endlessly. Respect isn't given through gimmicks, it's earned through honesty. By midnight, late-night ratings history is rewritten. The episode becomes the highest-rated segment in years, shattering streaming numbers, overtaking every major news story in digital engagement. In the SUV, Carla's phone pings again. Studio wants a statement from you by morning, she says. You can frame this however you want, misunderstood, passionate advocate, or just brutally honest. Damon doesn't hesitate. Tell them I meant every word. No apologies. No spin. Let the truth sit where it falls. Carla nods slowly, understanding the gravity of the moment. This changes everything, she says. Not just for your movie, for your career. Damon finishes his water, setting the glass down gently. Then it's about time things changed, he says. Far behind them, the studio lights dim, the buzz lingers, and the media machine kicks into overdrive. But Matt Damon has already moved on, carrying the storm he created, proud and unbowed. The following morning, New York awakens to headlines screaming about the most explosive talk show confrontation in recent memory. Every major news outlet splashes Matt Damon's face across their homepages. Clips flood TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and X, dissected frame by frame, reaction videos spawning by the thousands. On the front steps of network headquarters, executives huddle in damage control meetings. Late-night hosts across competing networks scramble to draft their opening monologues, some poking fun at Stephen Colbert, others offering sly nods to Damon's raw authenticity. Stephen Colbert, meanwhile, sits in his office, bleary-eyed from a sleepless night. His staff filters in, some subdued, others fidgeting nervously, holding printouts of social media reactions. It's worse than we thought, the head producer mutters. But, weirdly, our numbers are through the roof. Stephen sighs, pinching the bridge of his nose. This isn't about numbers, he says grimly. It's about losing control, on my own stage. In contrast, Matt Damon is nowhere to be found on the morning show circuit. Carla screens dozens of interview requests. Everyone wants his first words after the showdown. CNN, Good Morning America, even international outlets from the BBC to Al Jazeera. In a quiet corner of Manhattan, Damon sits in a modest cafe with Carla, dressed low-key in a baseball cap and jacket, unnoticed by the bustling morning crowd. His phone stays off, unread notifications piling up by the minute. Carla sips her coffee, scrolling. Your movie's pre-order numbers just tripled overnight. Theaters are adding extra showings. Even the studio execs, who were fuming yesterday, are suddenly singing a different tune. Damon stirs his tea. People are hungry for something real, he says quietly. Even if it's uncomfortable. Carla nods. Your stance turned into a lightning rod. Some are calling you arrogant, but way more people are calling you a breath of fresh air in a plastic industry. Across town, Colbert's PR team drafts a follow-up statement, attempting to smooth the situation. At The Late Show, we aim for a balance of entertainment and substance. Sometimes that balance is challenging to navigate. Stephen reads the draft, his jaw tight. It's weak, he mutters. I'm not going to grovel, but I'm not going to pretend we didn't get schooled on our own set. Meanwhile, Hollywood's elite weigh in. Directors pen op-eds about the media turning activism into clickbait. Veteran actors share solidarity posts with Damon. Other celebrities, known for their glib talk show appearances, nervously reconsider their media strategies. In boardrooms, agents warn their clients to prepare for tough interviews, while media trainers are suddenly in high demand, coaching stars on how to avoid the Damon effect. The risk of being called out live on air for fakeness. The ripple effect extends beyond Hollywood. Activist groups seize on Damon's words, praising his refusal to be reduced to a clown for corporate media. They flood social media with supportive hashtags, framing the incident as a cultural turning point about integrity in public platforms. By afternoon, the studio behind Damon's film releases a rare public statement, commending their star's commitment to the movie's message and transparency. It reads, "We stand by Matt Damon's dedication to truth. His passion mirrors the very themes our film explores." Reporters swarm the studio's gates, speculating if Damon will make any public appearances soon. Theaters advertise early screenings, tickets selling out in record time. As the day progresses, Carla's phone doesn't stop buzzing. Netflix wants a sit-down documentary. HBO wants you for a long-form interview. Podcasters are fighting for exclusive soundbites. Damon finally glances up, a faint smile tugging at the corner of his mouth. The irony, he says. They want to turn this anti-media moment into more media. Carla smirks. That's the game. But this time, you set the rules. Far from the frenzy, Damon knows he's changed the script. Not just for himself, but for an industry built on controlled narratives and manufactured moments. As night falls, one thing is clear. The Late Show incident isn't just a viral moment. It's a reckoning. And Matt Damon, for better or worse, has become the face of it. End of section 4. Let me know when you're ready for the final CTA, YouTube SEO description, titles, hashtags, and thumbnail suggestions. If you found this showdown as intense as we did, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join our community for more jaw-dropping Hollywood moments. Drop a comment. Was Matt Damon right to take a stand, or should he have played along? Smash the like button, share this video with your friends, and turn on notifications so you never miss another epic celebrity moment. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.